Oh look, my alien eyes are back again. Okay, so today I'm going to be learning more about the RAF. I saw this video pop up in my recommends just kind of randomly on YouTube, and I thought it would be fun to do. The name is really long. It is titled Watch the Entire Spectacular 100 Aircraft Flight Past as RAF Celebrates 100 Years. Sorry for the noise, Scarlett just laid down underneath my desk. The BBC did this, so there should be some really good commentary, so I'll know what the heck is happening. Oh, and by the way, a lot of you are probably wondering where the heck I've been. Let's just say I had to step away from YouTube for a little while for various reasons, but it's good to be back. So let's do this. So welcome to Top Gun School, or at least my version of it, where I learned all about military aviation, which just happens to be my favorite branch of the military. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, aka SoGal, and this here is Roger. He's decked out in his flight helmet today. Say hey to the folks, Roger. He can be a little jokester sometimes. So it looks like we're going to see a bunch of planes today from the history and the present of the RAF. So I am really looking forward to this. I have been learning a lot about the Royal Air Force on my channel. And so far I have learned about the Red Arrows, the Vulcan bomber, the V-bombers, all three of them, the Valiant, the Vulcan, and the Victor. I watched how the V-bombers nuked America, learned about the tornado, and of course Operation Black Buck during the Falklands War, where the V-bombers went down there and they pulled off that like massive scale operation that seemed impossible. And I have a video coming up on the Spitfire soon, which was a Patreon request. So all of these videos are available on my military Air Force playlist if you want to go check that out after this. And also a little FYI, if you see me writing something down during this, it's just because I want to remember it for future reference, so I am still paying attention, I promise.
100 years since the creation of the Royal Air Force. When you think back to what those original pilots were flying and the technology that we're going to see today.
It's absolutely breathtaking, and it reminds you, I think, today, that the importance of history and understanding our past, but also that all the armed forces, they never stand still. They're always progressing, they're always moving forward. And what we're going to see today is some of the most technologically advanced aircraft the world has ever seen.
And the doors have opened on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. The Queen taking her place there, and a huge roar, a huge cheer from the crowd.
You know what? This is really cool. I don't know if the US does anything like this with our Air Force, but if we do, I don't know about it. I think it's really cool how the British celebrate stuff like this. They do have a reputation for not being as patriotic as Americans, but I have come to learn that that's false. They actually are. They just show it in a different way with events like this, for instance. I really love that about the British, but I would be interested to know if the US did something like this for its 100th anniversary, which I actually don't know when that is. I don't know when the US Air Force was established. Since this came out in 2018, I'm assuming that the Royal Air Force was established in 1918, so I have to believe that the US probably wasn't that far behind. It would have been probably around that time as well.
And Royal, we heard the Queen herself underlining the connection that they have, the royal family has, with the Royal Air Force.
Absolutely, yes. And we just had Carol Vorderman there with the Air Cadets, and of course the Duchess of Cambridge is Honorary Air Commodore of the Air Cadets, and there you see her wearing the Dacre brooch, which is the highest award a female Air Cadet can be awarded there.
Well, there you go. The first...
Okay, so seeing the helicopters actually prompted a question. So I know that the US has designed and sold some planes to the UK. Now the UK may also be involved in the design and implementation of that as well. Like, I think the F-35, for instance, was a joint design between the US, UK, and maybe a couple of other countries. I can't remember who they are exactly. But I'm wondering if we're going to see any sort of like US design / made aircraft in here as well.
Wave of this huge fly past, which is coming over the palace right now. 3 Puma helicopters and 6 Chinooks, the slowest of the aircraft, only travelling at about 100 miles per hour.
Yes, Sophie, as you say, 3 Puma HC Mark II helicopters with us today. These are based at RAF Benson in Oxfordshire. Whoa. And there are medium support helicopters.
Holy cow! Look at that crowd. I can't believe that many people came out for something like this. This must have been a very, very, like, publicized event that was happening. This kind of reminds me of the Washington Mall in Washington, D.C., is where you see pictures like this over here in the U.S. Also, the London skyline is really interesting. There are a ton of cranes. Good night. You guys are building a lot of stuff in London, apparently.
Copter. It has a rich operational history and is currently deployed in Afghanistan. Similarly, the Chinooks, they're from Odium in Hampshire. This is a heavy lift aeroplane with an excellent capacity. Both types operated in humanitarian and disaster relief operations in the Caribbean just recently.
But that noise of the Chinooks is about to come over the palace now, something you recognize everywhere.
I've heard of the Chinooks. I didn't know that they were British, though. Is that... Well, I've seen those all the time in the US stuff. Were they British designed and made? I just assumed that they were American or something. Look at how just even they're flying. That's crazy for helicopters.
A big smile from Her Majesty the Queen. And now we have the second wave. These are training helicopters, aren't they? 2 Junos, 1 Jupiter.
Yes, Sophie, in their distinctive yellow and black paint schemes, following the Royal Air Force's frontline helicopters are the basic training aircraft, including those 2 Juno H-135 helicopters and 1 Jupiter H-145 helicopter.
And the first of the historic aircraft coming over. There are going to be 7 in total, part of the Battle of Britain memorial flight based at RAF Coningsby.
Spitfire?
And this is the Dakota, a very famous World War II plane.
The Spitfire has a propeller on it. The Dakota, I don't know anything about that one.
Followed by wave 4, the Lancaster, accompanied by 3 Spitfires and 2 Hurricanes. One of those Hurricanes is being flown today by the station commander at RAF Coningsby, Mike Borkwell, who is a Typhoon pilot, but he has chosen history over speed.
So Spitfires are the smaller ones. I guess is it the Lancashire that's the bigger one? I don't know anything about that one. I haven't seen the Spitfire video yet, but I'm going to be doing that one very soon. I'm looking forward to that one. They look like little like baby planes compared to the bigger one. The Hurricane, where is the Hurricane that she was talking about? Is that... So I'm thinking the Hurricane might be like this one right here and then this one back here. So these 2 right here, because the nose is designed slightly differently. I think the Spitfires have more of like the squared off nose that are kind of like pointing up a little bit, and maybe the Hurricanes are these that have more of the pointed nose. So what is so the Spitfires are fighters, I think, right? Hurricanes are probably the fighters, they look like fighters. What would the Lancashire be used as? Is that a bomber? Is that a cargo plane type thing? Maybe it's a bomber since we have the fighters kind of escorting it, maybe. That was so cool seeing the historical planes. Like, there you go, she's smiling for that one. Look at the lights on them too. I didn't think they would have lights on them for some reason.
Wonderful as they go overhead here at Buckingham Palace. The whole studio
those
vibrating.
are not the same
now,
planes.
bringing us back to the modern days of the RAF. This is the prefect training aircraft.
Yes, Sophie, from the vintage back to the brand new, these are the 120 prefect aircraft based at RAF Cranwell with 57 Squadron. The prefect modernises the aircraft used to deliver training to better reflect the types of aircraft the students will fly on the front line.
And here come the Tucanos.
Yes, Sophie, 9 Tucanos in Diamond 9 formation. Most of the pilots in today's flight pass will have cut their teeth on the Tucano.
Tucano, is that like another trainer plane type thing? Oh, those are loud.
There's Harry there looking to the skies. The royal family on the balcony there, clearly enjoying the spectacle overhead. Now here we have two Shadow R1s. These are the I-Star aircraft.
I-Star aircraft perform the Royal Air Force's intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition and reconnaissance tasks. This is the second time we've seen the Shadow over Buckingham Palace.
Shadow, that's a cool name. Didn't Prince William fly an airplane or a helicopter or something?
And next over, Sophie, are the C-130J Hercules aircraft, the primary tactical transport aircraft for the Air Force since 1967. This is a real workhorse for us.
And these are the beginning of the big beasts, the Hercules. This only came into force, well, this came into force in 1967, and what a roar it makes as it comes overhead.
I didn't know if there was that old.
Now.
That is an American one, isn't it?
Another old to new comparison then, with 47 years between the C-130 and the AE-400 Atlas, which is entered into service recently with the Royal Air Force. The aircraft has a 37-ton payload. It can carry out over 2,000 miles to remote and unprepared runways.
What is this white plane behind it? So the Atlas, I think I've heard the name. I didn't realize it was a more modern version of the C-130. So are both of these American made then? Because I thought that the C-130 definitely was an American cargo plane.
And two more transport aircraft coming over now. One big, one small. The smaller one is a BAE 146. That's going to be very familiar to the royal family because that is the aircraft that is used to transport senior members of the royal family all around the world.
So like their version of
Yes,
Air
we're
Force
seeing
One.
the C-17 Globemaster, a long-range strategic heavy lift transport. And behind it, the BA 146, which, as you say, is very familiar to the royal family and ministers.
I always wonder what they're like saying to each other.
And here comes the Sentinel, another surveillance aircraft.
Another of the Royal Air Force's I-Star platforms, the Sentinel R1 is a long-range, wide-area battlefield surveillance aircraft, which is operated today by 5 Squadron based at Royal Air Force Waddington.
The Queen clearly enjoying the spectacle going over the palace today, and this is the biggest of them all. Get ready for the Voyager. It is almost 200 feet long, almost 200 feet wide. It is the RAF's largest aircraft.
Our Voyager, operated by 10 and 101 Squadrons based at Royal Air Force Bryce Norton, is primarily used for both air-to-air refuelling and strategic air transport.
Okay.
The aircraft is in constant operational use.
Don't know about that one.
A few more of the big beasts to
Look
come.
at this is interesting. So I guess all of these kids right here in like, I guess would be like maybe it's like a equivalent of like the junior ROTC here in the States. So some sort of like air cadet force for kids maybe. That's really cool that they get to come and see this.
A few more of the big beasts to come. This is another surveillance aircraft that is still playing a big role, isn't it, in the skies over Syria and Iraq?
Yes, we're looking at the RC-135 rivet joint, another one of the Royal Air Force's I-Star aircraft, operated this time by 51 Squadron, again from Waddington.
And this easily recognizable
AWAC?
by the radar on its roof.
Behind the rivet joint is the AWACS E3D. That's the Airborne Warning Control System. The E3D Sentry is an airborne early warning aircraft with command and control capacity too.
See, I thought that was an American plane.
And
also,
over it
but-
goes. Stand by now for the first of the fast jets. Here they come. These are the Hawk T1s. They're the type of aircraft used by the Red Arrows. There are going to be almost 60 fast jets passing over us in the next few minutes alone.
These
realised they're
aircraft are
playing
flown
music
by
too.
100 Squadron at RAF Leaming in North Yorkshire. 100 Squadron uses the Hawk in what we describe as the aggressor role. simulating enemy forces and providing essential training.
I love looking at the formations. I was thinking about that the other day, actually, when I saw some birds in the air. You know, had birds fly in that V formation too, and I don't know the history of this, but I was wondering if Air Forces basically copied the birds for some reason. Is it just for, I mean, maybe there's like some strategic reason for it. Maybe there's a reason the birds do it, and thus it works for planes as well. I don't know. Like, I really don't know the reasoning behind it. But I just, I never really thought about it before, but I just kind of weirdly made that connection. I was like, huh. Air Force planes, they fly in formations just like birds do. So I wonder if there's like some rational like connection between the two of them. That would be interesting to learn about, because I don't know. I think there is a strategic value in that, like maybe being able to see, you know, the other planes around you, or what. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but or maybe it's just for show. I don't know. But it would be interesting to learn more about that.
And in a Diamond 9, these are Hawk 2s, which are the more advanced Hawks, aren't they? These are used to train fighter pilots, move them on to the next stage.
Exactly that. They're used for advanced fast jet training, the final stage of training before pilots reach operational aircraft. The aircraft has a glass cockpit, and that helps the pilots to transfer to our more modern frontline jets.
That's a cool formation.
Stand by now for the Tornadoes. 9 of them
yes.
about to pass overhead. They're going to be retired next year, based at RAF Marham. And behind them, you will see the Lightnings, the brand new Lightnings. Here come the Tornadoes.
I need to watch that. I need to watch something on the Lightnings.
And there behind them, the Lightnings, the F-35s. This is the first time that these aircraft have ever been seen in the skies over London.
Only 3 of them?
And now the centerpiece.
Oh, 100.
22 Typhoons from RAF Coningsby and RAF Lossiemouth. They have been practicing this for months.
Typhoon is another one I need to
Sophie,
do.
this is the first time, and we've seen that formation, and it's the largest number of Typhoons we have seen ever.
Led by Wing Commander Andy Chisholm.
That's really cool. I like that. That's nice. She looks like she's bothered by the noise a little bit. Here's these
And
red arrows.
finishing it all off. Squadron leader Martin Pert, red 1, bringing the red arrows up the Mall. Always a
red
huge
arrows.
favourite with the crowds here. You can hear the cheers.
That's really cool. I love the red, white, and blue contrails. You know what? It's so interesting also seeing all of these things fly over London like this, because the architecture over there is so different than what we have over here in the States. And so just seeing like all of the older architecture and stuff as these more like modern planes fly over, it's just a really kind of cool picture.
The red, white and blue of the red arrows blasting their way over Buckingham Palace.
Do you think she has any idea what's actually going on? Like, do you think she knows? I know she knows what's going on, like, obviously, but do you think she understands all the different planes and stuff that we're flying over? Or do you think it's just a ceremony she has to attend? I just wonder, like, how much about this stuff does she actually know? Oh, cool, they have the Air Force roundels,
a huge
flags.
round of applause from the thousands of people who have gathered here in the Mall. That really was
It
quite
just
a sight,
looks
wasn't
so
it,
good. Look at how good these look. Just over the green like that. Just the contrast so well. Man, they just look really good. I have to say, I think the Red Arrow planes definitely have the visual advantage over like the Blue Angels, for instance. I don't want to like compare the two because I know they're very comparable in what they do, but the planes though, I really like the Red Arrow planes, even though they're a different plane. I think the Blue Angels fly with like fighter jets, and these are more of, I think you guys told me they were trainer aircraft, but they just look so good in the sky. They look so good. And I do prefer looking at them over the Blue Angels planes. And the Thunderbirds too, I think. So, yeah. They're just beautiful sight.
Thousands of people who have gathered here in the Mall. That really was quite a sight, wasn't it, James?
Wow, and the crowd goes all the way around the statue too. What is the statue called again? I know you guys have probably told me in other videos, but wow, that crowd is huge. How many people were there, do you think? I mean, it has to be well over 100,000, maybe 200,000-300,000, maybe more than that, I don't know. Alright, so that was an air show. Definitely had a lot of fun watching that. So much fun. I got so caught up into it that I forgot to write anything down. There were a few planes that they mentioned in there that I do need to go back and check out. I think the Typhoon and Hurricane, like there were a bunch of them actually that I need to do like videos on. But I really enjoyed seeing some of these planes. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't see any of the V bombers. Those would have been a huge hit with the crowd probably. I do understand probably why they didn't do them, because I know they've been retired and they may not have even had one available to fly. So I do understand that, but man, if they could have pulled that off, that would have been so cool to hear like the roar of the Vulcan as it flew overhead. Oh my gosh, how cool would that have been? But I did enjoy all of the other planes that they showed. Let me know which plane I should do next. Like I said, the Spitfire is coming up, so I'm definitely doing that one. I've got other planes in the works too. They're not the Royal Air Force, but they're still going to be fun to learn about. So anyway, thanks guys for stopping by the channel and helping me learn a little bit more about the RAF. If you enjoyed your time here, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more content like this coming up in the future. There are also some social media links down in the description and the pinned comment if you want to go check out those things. Roger and I will say goodbye for now, and we will see you again soon. For more reactions that I don't post on YouTube, check out my Patreon community where we enjoy longer form content like movies, TV shows, documentary series, and live chats. It also helps to support the channel, and I want to say thanks to all of my patrons for their kind generosity in doing so. My Patreon link is in the description of this video and the pinned comment. Hope to see you over there.